Hey, it's Liz from No Trace. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add a zipper pocket to any bag. Adding a zipper pocket like this to a bag is actually a lot easier than you think. I'm going to walk you through the steps of figuring out what size zipper and pocket fabric you need for your bag. And if you enjoy learning from me, I have a free sewing pattern in the description box below. So go ahead and click on the description box and snag yourself a free zero waste sewing pattern. Adding a zipper pocket to a bag like this is also a really great way to use up some of your smaller scraps of fabric. So let's go. When adding a zipper pocket to a bag, you want to figure out how large you want your pocket to be in relation to your bag. So I'm going to be adding this zipper pocket to a tote bag where the cut panels are 16.5 inches tall and 18 inches wide. And I want my pocket to be good enough for some pens and my phone and my earbuds and things that I normally keep in the pocket. I'm going to be using a 7-inch zipper, so my pocket fabric needs to be at least 2 or 3 inches wider than my zipper. So I have fabric here that's 10 inches wide for a 7-inch zipper. And like I mentioned, I want my pocket to be able to hold several things. So I have a piece of fabric that is 18 inches long. And remember that this is going to get folded in half to create the pocket, so that now we have a height of 9 inches, but we're also going to lose about 3 inches to our top edge. So just to summarize, my pocket fabric is 10 inches wide and it's 18 inches tall, and this is a 7-inch zipper. In this first step, we want to find the center of our pocket fabric. So it's 10 inches wide, that means the center is 5 inches. And we're going to put a mark at 5 inches. And you're going to want to use a marking pencil or pen that you have a lot of control over, not a really wide, clunky piece of chalk, but something with a little bit more precision. So I'm making a mark here at 5 inches. That's the center line. Now I'm going to measure down from the top edge of this pocket fabric 1.5 inches. Actually, I'm going to measure it this way. So I'm going 1.5 inches from my top edge, and I'm going to draw a line right at 1.5 inches from that top edge. And now I'm going to draw a second line that's 2 inches from the top edge. These two lines are going to become the opening of the zipper, but we don't want to create the opening all the way across. We want the opening to be about 1 inch wider than our zipper. So remember, we have a zipper that's 7 inches, so that means that we want this opening to be 8 inches wide. So we're going to measure this from the center line 4 inches in each direction so that we get an 8-inch wide opening. Okay, so we're going to mark a line here, and we're going to mark a line over here. So this is going to be the opening of our zipper. You can go ahead and place your zipper in that opening and make sure that it's going to work so that you'll be able to catch your zipper in your seams over on the side, and it looks good. Now we also want to create a line down the center of this opening that we are going to be making later. So get your ruler again, and this is a 1/2 inch opening here. So we want to measure a 1/4 inch and draw a line right down the center of the box that we drew. And then we actually, on the corners, we want to create a triangle. So just draw a little triangle shape. Okay, and these are going to become cut lines in the next step. So your fabric should look like that. And I want to point out that this drawing is going on the back of the pocket fabric. And once you have this zipper opening drawn out, what you want to do is get your pocket fabric lined up with your bag fabric. So we're doing this on the inside of a tote bag. So this is one of the liner panels from a tote bag, but you could add this to the outside of a bag as well. The way we're going to do that is by finding the center line of our liner fabric, lining it up with the center line on our pocket fabric, and we're also going to be placing the pocket fabric about 2 inches from the top edge. Okay, so I found the center line of this liner fabric, and I made a mark, and it's lined up with the center line of my pocket fabric. And we have the right side of the pocket fabric facing the right side of the liner fabric. Everything is lined up. This is 2 inches from the top edge. Let's make sure. Once they're pinned together, we're going to take this to the machine and we're going to stitch this rectangle that we drew. We're not going to stitch the little triangle points that we added in there or the center line. We're just going to stitch this outermost rectangle that we drew. All right, so you can see I've stitched that rectangle all the way around. So we can take these pins out. Now in the next step, we're going to be cutting that center line that we drew earlier. And those little triangles in the corner, okay? So you're gonna get your scissors out, and the easiest way to do this is to just sort of take a tiny pinch and get your cut started. And you are cutting through both layers of fabric, and just take your time and cut up to the point of the triangle, and then you're gonna cut down into the corner as close as you can get to that stitch without cutting that stitch in the corner. Okay, so you're creating a little triangle cut, and then just repeat that on the other side. Just go right down that center line and then cut down towards the corners as close as you can get without actually cutting the stitches. There you go. Now we're going to pull this fabric, the pocket fabric, through the opening that we just made, so that now we are looking at our liner fabric, the right side of our liner fabric, or if you're adding this to an outer part of your bag, you're looking at the outside of your bag now. And you can kind of see that it's starting to take shape. So we're going to press this really nicely before the next step. So I've ironed it nice and flat, and the part that's going to be visible looks really nice. The back has a couple of little puckers, and that is super normal. So don't worry if you have a couple of little puckers on the sides there. They're not going to be visible when you use your bag. In the next step, we're going to be attaching the zipper to the pocket opening that we created. And a lot of folks use Wonder Tape or glue for this. I don't use those because they create waste. So I'm only going to do this with pins. But if you have those materials already, I would totally recommend using them up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my zipper underneath my opening here and make sure it looks nice and centered from the front side, and I can feel that it's laying flat. And then I'm just going to do my best to pin it in place all the way around. Once it's pinned in place, I'm going to use my zipper foot to just carefully go all the way around, staying real close to this seam, so about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance to lock that zipper in place. And just take your time so that you get a nice close connection all the way around. When you get near your zipper pull, you might have to move it out of the way depending on how big your zipper teeth and the pull are. So I'm just pushing mine out of the way, and I'm just going to keep going. All right, so we stitched all the way around, and let's double check that our zipper works well. Looks good. Once we've stitched all the way around the zipper, you can trim your loose threads, and then we're going to flip it over to the back side, and we're going to be sewing up the actual pocket fabric. Now when we sew it, we just want to sew the pocket fabric. We don't want to accidentally sew onto the liner fabric. And if you have a serger, you could definitely use a serger for this step. You could also do 2 rows of straight stitches so that your pocket will be nice and secure. So I'm going to go ahead and pin it before I sew it. So the pocket fabric is pinned in place, and now I'm at the machine. I'm going to sew with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm only sewing the pocket fabric, so I have the liner fabric pushed out of the way here. So I'm only sewing the pocket, and make sure to do a back stitch at the start and the stop, and just go all the way around the raw edges. So I've stitched all the way around the pocket fabric, and I did a 2nd row of stitches just on the outside of that 1st row of stitches. So now my pocket is super secure and it's done. And now you can test out your pocket. This one is going to hold a lot of goodies, and I am so excited to finish up this bag. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope it gives you the confidence to add a zipper pocket to your bag. And don't forget to snag my free zero waste sewing pattern in the description box. Just click on that and follow the link to snag that for yourself. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the No Trace channel to get notified about all of our videos. We put out a new video every single week on zero waste sewing, crafting, and lifestyle tips. So I'll see you again very soon.